Hello and welcome to Talking Point. I'm Jack Sheeran. Religion is often regarded as one of the most influential factors within society. But is it failing to modernise? Are people becoming disillusioned with it? Is it even a requirement to have a fulfilling and enjoyable life? In this video, I'm joined by Femi Kalejaiye, a Christian, to discuss religion and why he believes it's just as important today as it was hundreds of years ago. Do you think religion still has a place within society today?
If you look at the top 5 questions that people are asking at different periods of their life, it's the question, who am I, tends to come up. Why am I here? Tends to be a very big question. What am I on this earth to do? And so the question of purpose and identity really comes up, and I think the Christian faith strikes at the heart of that identity and purpose question. So it's very relevant, very, very relevant. Yeah.
But to people who perhaps don't follow religion, who are atheist or questioning religion completely, they may look at religion and think, well, actually, I don't require it, I don't need it. So do you think that some people in society, in the world, have a greater need for religion and other people perhaps can live without it?
I think we all need a saviour. So if I just open up with a quick distinction, so I've grown to make a distinction between religion and relationship with God. So you hear this a lot in Christian circles, but basically Jesus, when the Bible talks about Jesus and it gives his account of what he said, he was very disappointed and upset with a group of people called the Pharisees because they were very much into religion. So basically they took their relationship with God and they converted it into a set of rules. So they would say that you have to pray X amount of times a day, you can only eat X types of foods, and they did this to sort of make them clean. And what Jesus was saying was that all these rules that you're following, they're only cleaning you on the outside, but they're not dealing with the heart. Yeah, and I think religion, which is following a set of rules to make us clean on the outside, is really it's really disappointing, really. I don't think that really has a place in society. I think relationship with God has a place in society. So if you look at all the different faiths, I think a lot of them are based on cleaning the outside. So meditating X times a day to make you look holy. And I think God's just not interested in that stuff. He's interested in what's your heart saying about different issues and how can he liberate us and set us free and deal with our hearts. And eventually, because our hearts get to know him and are purified by knowing him, it will affect our outside.
Many churches across the world of all different religions tend to show off the wealth of the church itself. One of the biggest prime examples, I suppose, would be the Vatican. It's covered in all this intricate artwork and gold, and you walk in and go, wow, this is amazing, it's so impressive. But at the same time you think, is the church too wealthy? And I suppose it boils down to the fact that through that wealth, is the church too powerful? So do you think that perhaps the wealth of the church can perhaps inhibit its influence in a way?
Good question. I think within that there's a question of, should church be expressed in a sort of exuberant and wealthy manner? So there's lots of things that I don't approve of that I see, but in terms of what is biblically sound, Jesus made it clear that we don't live for wealth. So wealth is not our master. When we wake up in the morning, we don't think, how am I meant to make more money? We think, God wants to achieve something today. There's a person who's full of despair that needs hope and liberation. I think that running a church does require finances, but it requires them to be used and worked in a very loving way that honours God. And I think we're not here to hoard wealth. We're definitely not here to hoard wealth. And so I love seeing churches that commit all of their resources, and time is a resource, not just money, but they commit it to looking at society and thinking, what does society need right now?
Some people would suggest that because there are so many different faiths and religions across the globe, that it's a major source of conflict throughout history.
Yeah.
That religion, in many cases, is the cause of conflict.
Yeah.
And there's probably only one or two examples that show that religion isn't the main source of conflict. You could look at a lot of wars and say, well, this was the major driving factor of that conflict. That religion was behind it.
I think selfish ambition was probably the cause of most wars, and I think.
Do you think that was driven for some people by religion and their religious beliefs?
No more than other factors. So, for example, money has driven a lot of wars. In fact, Tony Blair, people are hoping he's going to be prosecuted for a reason, and that had nothing to do with religion per se. So, I think religion, like a lot of things, can be manipulated, and I think that's what's happened with some wars. So just like people manipulate science and truth and news and oil and all these different factors, I think religion's another thing that people manipulate.